Hello, Losing Randy. So this week I decided to try something different. I did an interview with a dentist who is very active in the keto diet world. He's a coach and stuff like that for those. He has a podcast, the Ketodontist.com, and he's interviewed a lot of doctors, scientists, whatever. So he knows the keto world very well, and he's struggled with his weight. He's younger than I am, probably by about 15, 20 years, it appears. So I did an interview with him and just asked him about keto diets and his story of weight loss and why he likes the keto diet. And I took a few questions off Twitter and asked him those. So I've never done an interview with anybody in my life. I've been on a few podcasts. That's kind of what gave me the idea, just to give that a try. So tune in, watch the interview. If you like that concept of interviewing, give me some ideas of people or fields or whatever that you would like me to contact and interview with, and we can do some more of those. I do plan on doing an interview with a dentist who is very active in sleep apnea, and specifically, since I have a lot of young followers, pediatric sleep disorders and airway issues. So I hope to get that interview done sometime in the next couple of weeks. So tune in to see Dr. Matt Standridge out of Kansas, and he's a pretty nice guy. Pretty good interview, so tune in. All right. Hey, thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks. All right. So this week, Losing Randy, gonna meet a new friend of mine that I've never met in person, but I've kind of followed him online. Matt Standridge is a dentist who's also active in keto diet, or whatever you call it. So Matt, where do you live, Matt? I don't even know.
I'm in pretty rural Kansas, real small town, Yates Center, Kansas.
Okay. And that's what part of Kansas?
Southeast corner,
Okay.
about 2 hours south of Kansas City. So.
Okay. All right. So, well, anyway, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit of your story of where you're at and how you got there and that type of thing.
Yeah. So, you mentioned the keto thing. I've dealt with weight issues basically my entire life. I grew up morbidly obese, starting around the age of 5 or 6. I just started gaining crazy weight every year, and my mother was the same way, and she had topped out at about 450 pounds back in around 99, before she had gastric bypass surgery. And I was getting into high school at this time, and just realized, that's not what I wanted to do. And I was going into freshman year of high school. I was over 330, and decided that I wanted to finally do something. I'd always been active, and I didn't think I ate that crappy, but it was about that time that the Atkins thing started coming popular again, Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution, and read that book cover to cover and implemented it, and lost about 130 pounds and kept it off through college until dental school. And then with stress and stuff and drinking way too much and lack of physical activity, gained weight back again in dental school, and gained weight past dental school. And over the last 2 or 3 years, I topped out at the end of 2015, early 2016. I topped out at about over 350. And
what year did you graduate?
Over the last couple of years.
What year did you graduate dental?
Graduate dental school?
Yeah.
2010.
Okay. Just a young pup.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So then
the last couple of years, we've been getting back to it.
All right. So tell me about, what's the difference between Atkins? What's the difference between keto? What's the difference between paleo, primal, all that stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, you know this
Yeah,
stuff.
they have a
You
lot
study
of
the science.
yeah, they have a lot of overlapping qualities about them. So, what I do actually is basically a version of keto and paleo. Because Atkins, what it was, is it was a carbohydrate controlled diet. Now, in the first 2 weeks, it was considered ketogenic because of how low the carbs were taken. And any diet can be ketogenic as long as the carbohydrate content is low enough, because to reach a state of ketosis, your body, you have to restrict your carbohydrates to a certain level. But so Atkins's first 2 weeks, his induction phase, what they called it, was basically a ketogenic diet. But people could start, as long as their bodies responded favorably, they could start ticking up the carbs again until they found a level that worked for them. Either they could still lose weight and or they wanted to get to maintenance or whatever. They played with that level, but ketosis wasn't necessarily the goal. And the same thing with paleo. Paleo is all about basically getting rid of kind of the industrial, highly processed foods, going back to things that our ancestors, kind of hunter gatherers, would have eaten more of. So nuts,
Caveman, huh?
berries, yeah, nuts, berries, tubers, meats, not really any refined sugars, no refined grains, that type of stuff. Um, and so that's basically what I follow, but a very ultra low carb. So it's both keto and paleo, what I do.
Okay.
Some people still have cheeses and stuff on keto, that's fine. I'm not really I tell folks I'm not really the food police. There's a lot of ways that you can do this. It's you kind of have to play with it. But I found what works best for me is basically sticking to whole foods, very nutrient dense foods, and I'm able to eat. I don't have to eat as much to feel full and feel fuller longer. Because one message that I do say to on my show and to clients and people that I help is that calories still do matter to an extent, and so you can't be consuming 5,000 calories worth of food, even if it's keto, and
Sure.
still expect to lose weight. I mean, so calories still do matter. And if I can do a diet that I can consume 1,800 to 2,000 calories, that'll put me at a decent deficit where I can lose weight steadily, but not feel hungry all the time and not feel tired and stuff. That's what works for me. So
And so, at this stage now, I think you've lost somewhere around 100 pounds, a little over. In
yeah,
what
I've
in what
lost.
time in what time frame?
Oh, let's see. Well, it's been a journey over the last year and a half, 2 years maybe, because I was going through some stuff through my dental practice as well, that I kind of
Stress.
had some setbacks. We ended up, yeah, stress. I had two offices, ended up merging the two offices and closing one of them down, moving my family. Like, it's just a
Oh
bunch of
Lord.
stuff. So I would say really actively, probably the last year or so, that I've really gotten down to it. So
When's the last time, as far as on your diet, you just went off the rails and just said, screw it? Or have you lately?
oh, let's see. I would say it's a few months ago. I had just gotten done with the big implant case, and I just and I mean it was like an 8-hour surgery, and I was just exhausted, and I was both equal parts celebratory and also equal parts just like I just want to drown in a margarita. And so we went to hit up some Mexican food, and I just didn't care that night. But then the very next day, I was right back to it. So
do you find that you
but
kind
yeah,
of, you get a food hangover the next day almost? Do you notice that? Like if you've been,
yeah,
you just feel like
it's
shit.
that rebound effect. Yeah, it's that rebound effect that keeps me you experience that enough times, and it's kind of like a bad hangover. And the fact that you do that enough times, and you start, if you start to actually learn something, you'd be like, you know what, I'm not going to do that because I know how it's just going to wipe me out
Yeah,
the whole next day.
it's amazing how
So
fast,
yeah.
how far behind it puts you. I mean, you work for
Mm-hmm.
months and months and months, and then like 3 days, and it's like shit. You know, it all went. Well,
Right.
but anyway, so you have a podcast. I'll put that in our notes. The Ketodontist, Ketodontist, and I don't. You've been doing
Yeah.
podcasts for I don't know how long. Couple year and a half, 2 years. I don't even know.
Year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. And so you get to talk to some people that really know about this. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of interesting because you really are learning the science of it. Also, you're not just picking up a book down at Sam's and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this keto diet." So that's why it's interesting to pick
Right.
your brain a little bit. Let's see. So doing that. So the hardest thing I have is that just wanting to you do it, and then you start. I never get rid of all the cravings. It seems, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been off the rails here for probably since Thanksgiving. So you lose 50 pounds, and then boom, 20 pounds are back on. So now we got to start paddling upstream again and everything. So but we're ready to do that. We're
Yeah.
just getting started
Holiday
on it again.
times are tough, man.
That yo-yo diet.
Yeah. Holiday times are tough. As interesting, I was just reading this report that was showing how so many people are basically re-losing the weight over the year that they
Yeah.
gain in the holiday times from like Thanksgiving to New Year's. And then it takes them all year to basically lose what they
Yep.
gain. And,
Yeah.
and then what the
You just
holidays have, it's just vicious like.
so
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
so I went on Twitter and said I was going to do this. So I asked for questions. Oh boy, it's complicated. Which version of keto does he follow? Does he recommend exogenous ketones and other marketed tricks to getting into ketos, blood meter, pee strips, all that stuff? Is that any of
That's
that?
a great question. Just in case if anybody's watching, this is just sparkling water. This isn't this isn't exogenous ketones that I'm trying to plug or anything.
I
This
don't
is
know what that
just
means.
carbonated lemon lemon water.
Fizzy lemon water.
Well, so okay, so that is an excellent question. And the short of it, no, I do not. I do not try to pimp exogenous ketone products. So, Randy, what the question is there's a lot. When I was talking about the body being in a state of ketosis, right? It's basically when our carbohydrate restriction is so low that the body is forced to manufacture and utilize ketones for fuel. And so when we do that through our diet, we're using endogenous ketones made from our body, right?
Sure.
Well, exogenous ketones are the exact opposite. They're ketones from outside source, right? So there are a lot of products out there that promote ketosis, but it's through consuming exogenous ketones. That can have a
That to me
place.
sounds like it defeats the purpose of making your body do it.
Yeah, so ketones as themselves can be a great tool. There's been really interesting data to show that can be helpful for certain neurodegenerative disorders, epileptics, adjuncts to certain type of cancers, not all. And then also some molecular signaling and some kind of epigenetic pathway stuff that presence of ketones can be beneficial for, and even these exogenous ketones. Also, like performance, they do have a performance thing. So before a really hard workout, endurance race, powerlifting or something, they could be beneficial there. That being said, 90% of the people wanting to adopt a ketogenic diet is looking for fat loss, right? And so for those people looking for fat loss, it'd be much better to have your body utilize its own fat stores
Sure.
and manufacture its own ketones rather than drinking them down. So I do not, for people who are looking to utilize fat, their own body fat for fuel, no, I'm not a huge proponent of the exogenous ketones or even a high fat version of a ketogenic diet.
Well, that makes sense to me. All right, here's another one. How in the heck do you do keto on the road? I'm out of town 3 to 4 days a week. I prefer not to eat at a restaurant, but I can. So just making choices, I suppose.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's an excellent question because that's something that I had to. It took me a long time to navigate around because with the amount of traveling I was doing for CE, and now that I also help teach an orthodontics course,
Yuck.
and we teach at least 6 weekends out of the year and stuff. So a lot of the traveling, yeah, that's an excellent question. So I've adopted, me myself, I've kind of adopted certain rules that I follow. I mean, you can eat at a restaurant, you can eat at whatever fast food even. If most places you can get a salad, it might not be all that glamorous or anything, but you can get a salad. You can make sure there's no crackers or croutons on it. I carry a lot of convenience foods. I was it Sunkist? They're the tuna company. They have these bold creations, these tuna
I'm guessing
packets
that's
that have
Starkist.
some really great flavor. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Starkist. And so yeah, they have like this one tapatio with lime flavored tuna packet that is awesome. Jerkies you want to go for low sugar. A lot of jerkies have high sugar content actually. So you want to keep on the lookout for low sugar content jerkies or beef sticks.
My daughter sent me a Manly Man jerky bouquet, beef stick jerky bouquet.
Nice.
Chelsea sent me that for my birthday, so I've yet to open it, but it's my kind of bouquet. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's great. But yeah, that's basically what I kind of go towards, and um, if it's places that you're traveling to a lot, you can really start looking at the local what's available and start making a plan. So
Sure.
that way, every time that you're going to be in this location, you're going to have this available, and this is what you're going to pick. Because if you're just constantly trying to come up with new stuff, it's exhausting mentally. Whereas if you know this is where you're going, you know this is available, and you know what you're going to pick, it makes a lot less mental effort on your part.
And you do a lot of meal prep too, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, during the week, I live off of at least breakfast and lunches anyway. I live off of prep meals. That's basically 2 to 3 hours every Saturday or Sunday. I just bulk prep meals and live off them during the week.
That's a smart way to do it, instead of going, what the hell am I going to do today for food, and then failing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. At least for me, I have to have a plan, and I have to make it so stupidly simple. I have to just make it just completely brainless
Sure.
for it to work for me, because I have enough mental energy wrapped up in other stuff. I don't need it to be what can I eat and how much. It needs to be planned.
All right. So someone also wants to know about working out, because you got a bunch of stuff set up somewhere in your house or your garage or something, don't you? You do a lot of working out.
Yeah. I actually have a garage basement, or a basement garage, however you want to say that. So yeah, I actually have a home gym set up down there, and that I've just slowly amassed over a couple years. It wasn't like I just went out and got all this stuff one day. Started with a bench and some adjustable dumbbells. Then I got a kettlebell, and then just eventually got a rack with a barbell.
So are you mostly
so
like into the weightlifting type of part of it, or you got to do some of that aerobic stuff? You got some bike you pedal the shit out of, or what?
Yeah, so I've become a big fan for body recomposition. I've become a big fan of resistance training, so weight training. Mainly because through the different certifications I've been going through different coaching and nutritional certifications, the science backing resistance training and versus other forms of exercise in its effects on body recomposition. So not necessarily just weight loss, but actual body recomposition. It's hard to get better ROI in your time than proper resistance training, because fat loss really is going to come from your diet. But body recomposition, so maintaining and or gaining muscle even when you're losing weight, that's what's going to really get you looking good and feeling good and all of that stuff. Because people who crash diet and people who aren't doing proper resistance training, aren't getting proper amounts of protein and stuff, they'll lose weight, but they'll also lose lean mass. And that's a pretty dangerous game to play. So since my time's fairly limited as far as working out, in my studies, resistance training just has the best bang for the buck for the most part. Now I'm still okay with if people want to go run or jog or bike or whatever, that's fine. If they have the time to do so, awesome. But I have to be pretty selective with my time. So I focus on the weights and diet.
So do you have a young family? You have kids?
Yeah. We only have one child right now. She is 3.5.
Oh, yeah. There's a big time suck right there. But that's a good investment.
Yeah.
That's well spent time. So obviously our kids are all out of the house, so now it's just meeting up with grandkids and whatnot. So, but that's
Right.
that's almost a half hour. That's probably longer than anyone's ever going to want to listen to us. So we could probably wrap it up. So what other dental meetings you got coming on that you go to? So I should run into you in life sometime.
Well, one of these days, yeah, I'm going to see. I wish I could attend Voices of Dentistry this next weekend, but I'll be teaching in Tulsa. I'm hoping that next year we can coordinate our schedules to where our meeting won't be the same time as VOD as it's been the last 3 years. And so I've never been able to make Voices of Dentistry. No, I know everybody there, and I'm friends with
it'd be fun.
and it'd be a great time. Yeah. So
Did you take Moody's implant pathway, or did you go somewhere else? I don't remember.
it's on my list. I haven't taken it yet, but I would.
Well,
I
it sounds
really
like you're
want to
already
get on
doing
that.
several. You do a lot of implants?
They come in waves, just like anything else.
Mhm.
But we do. We have the in-office cone beam. I 3D print my own guides and stuff
Yep.
like that. So we have the capability of doing quite a bit. But I'm also in a fairly low income rural area, and so like I said, just kind of comes in waves.
Yep.
But yeah, but we have the capability of doing a lot. So
Well, that's better than a root canal wave.
right, yeah,
So,
no,
but
that
anyway.
I've become so selective on those. Yeah. So my question to you, Randy,
Oh.
is well, if is there anything I can do for you? I mean, any resources I can point you towards or anything? Because if I can be of assistance or help or anything, just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to
No, sure. No,
either I help you out or point you in.
yeah. Well, it's a long drive for you to come up here and just kick me in the ass and tell me to get my ass in gear. So hopefully we can do it through social media. But no, I enjoy your podcast. They're interesting and everything. And hopefully some people will watch this and get a kick out of it. Maybe follow you, and I have some questions for you. But yeah, this is my first interview ever, so we'll see how it works. Maybe it'll be all right.
Awesome.
So, but anyway, I'm gonna let you sign off, and
All right,
I'll run into you someday somewhere.
all right. You have
All
a
right,
good weekend.
you bet. Hey, thanks a lot.